I am 33 years old right now, and I started getting my financial shiz together around 25, 26. Do you want to know what every single person that I've met in this space has told me? Pretty much across the board. I wish I had started younger. Every single time. Let's talk about some money lessons that if you learn in your 20s, you will pretty much be set for life. And if you're in your 30s or beyond, these are still lessons that you can learn. You can pick these up anytime and improve your financial life and life overall. Let's get into it. Also, today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hi friends, I am Sarah Wilson, also known as Budget Girl here on the internet. And I want to talk today about some money lessons that I have learned kind of the hard way, and I would love for you to be able to pick them up essentially as young as possible. I get a lot of people who are kind of fresh out of college or sometimes even high school on here who are already in that mindset of, I want to control my money, I want to use money as a tool. How do I get to where I want to be? And that's amazing, because I did not think that way until I was already like way in the negative. $33,000 worth of student loans, laid off from my $26K a year newspaper job, and essentially it took me a couple of years to work myself even just up to zero. Now I've managed to go since then way above that. I am thrilled to be in the 100K plus club. I now have multiple streams of income and I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good, I think. But if I had started younger, like every other person I've talked to in this space, I could be just in bananas land as far as financial and personal success. So if you're in your 20s or beyond, let's see if you've learned these lessons, and if not, maybe put them on the to-do list. So the very, very first lesson that I want to impart is the importance of having an emergency fund. That's right, more important than investing, more important than retirement, more important than having a budget, and this channel is called Budget Girl, is having an emergency fund. Now, when I was in college, I had a savings account and a checking account, and anytime I got a little windfall, I'd put money in the savings account and then it would just go away. So not only do I want you to learn to have an emergency fund, I would like for you to learn to protect that emergency fund like it is a precious ring or furry child or something very, very important. Once I decided that I was going to have an emergency fund and I wasn't going to touch it unless there was an emergency, my life changed. Because once I started protecting that savings account and stopped just pulling from it anytime I wanted to spend, it became my bodyguard, essentially, against life. And here's the thing. Life is gonna come and slap you around. And if you don't have that bodyguard emergency fund, you're gonna get beaten up a little bit. So, medical issue. You suddenly get into a car crash and break your arm. You need a new tire. There's a global panini just screwing everything up. Emergencies will happen. And if an emergency happens and you have the fund, it's still gonna suck, but it's not gonna throw you off track for months or years. Have that emergency fund, protect that emergency fund, love that emergency fund. It's up to you how much you want in it. I would recommend a month or two of expenses at minimum, because that's about how long it'll sometimes take to recover from stuff. And the more you can increase that, the better. Lesson number 2. You are now completely and wholly responsible for your own education and life improvement. After K through 12 and college, if you went, is over, no one is going to force feed you any knowledge or information anymore. If you don't know what a 401k is, it's up to you to Google that. A lot of people kind of go through life saying, I'm not great with money because I wasn't taught. At a certain point, you have to take that responsibility on yourself. There's a lot of things that aren't taught in school that you then just have to get the chutzpah to go out and learn that knowledge yourself, and also to discern some of the good advice from the bad, which is a learning experience in of itself. If you want to learn the basics of something like budgeting and money management, you can do something like subscribe to this channel. You can learn from other people online. You can learn from your peers. You can reach out and do learning in any way that fits you. This is where our sponsor Skillshare comes in. They make it so much easier to learn out in the real world. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, develop existing interests, and get lost in creativity. They have experts who have filtered their knowledge into really short, informative courses that make it easy to learn new skills. So you suddenly aren't happy with the job that you have and you need to learn how to do Photoshop or photography in order to get into a space that you want to get into. That's your responsibility, but there are experts on Skillshare that can help teach you that. It's amazing. I recently watched this course by Parker Gard, who did a building an Etsy shop that sells e-commerce strategies course that I really enjoyed. I have an Etsy shop and it's always good to learn new ways to market my products to my audience and to make sure that my brand represents me and my product well. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I think it really fit well with our continuing learning video today. Make sure to check out Skillshare in the link below. The first 1,000 people to sign up using the link in my description box will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium, and after that it is just $10 a month. Lesson number 3, learn to budget. You guys knew this was coming. Money is a tool. You can use it to build wealth, or you can use it to dig yourself deep into debt. If you are bringing home money, you need to learn how to divide it amongst your needs, your wants, saving for the future, etc. And I myself have thought before, like, I'll start budgeting when I actually have some money to budget with. But honestly, the lower income that you are and the less money you have to work with, the more important budgeting is. Without a budget, you risk overspending on discretionary items or undersaving for big important purchases that will come up. If a budget sounds intimidating to you, I promise you once you're actually in it and trying to use one, it gets so much easier. It's also not as restrictive as you might think. You make your budget and then you follow your budget. Make sure to put in your budget room for fun stuff. Give yourself permission to spend while also respecting the things that you have to pay for. A budget can actually give you a ton of freedom and calm a lot of stress in your life, because when you're walking through life not sure if you're going to be able to pay your bills, it's hard to accomplish much else. I do have a free Excel-based budget on my website, budgetgirl.com, and if you want one with a tutorial and all sorts of bells and whistles, including a side hustle tracker, you can get that on my Etsy shop. Lesson number 4, know the importance of a debt repayment plan, and not the one that was contracted to you when you signed the paperwork. Debt, unfortunately, is a reality for most young Americans, especially in their 20s, whether it's for college, cars, etc. But letting that debt linger and be a constant part of your life can affect your entire financial future and success. After college, I made under the minimum required to pay my students' loan back, so those just grew in interest over the years until I finally decided to do something with it. By the time I had, they ballooned up from $27,000 to $33,000. A note, having debt does not make you a bad person. Debt is just debt. It's neutral. It's a negative in your life, but it doesn't affect who you are. And this was a mistake that I made when I was getting out of debt. I actively thought that I was just a crap pile of a human being because I had all that debt. And yeah, I signed for that money. I spent that money, but that didn't make me a bad person. I punished myself for years because I thought that that informed who I was as a human. And I was wrong. It's important to do something about your debt, but it shouldn't affect your self-worth. And know that even just a little extra towards that debt can make a huge difference across the years. And that life is so much better after you don't have debt anymore and you have total control and choices when it comes to your paycheck. Lesson number 5, understanding compound interest, investing, and retirement. Now that's a big old category, but I want to boil it down to something very simple. The earlier that you start, the better off your future self will be. Now, when I was 23, thinking about putting $500 a month into a Roth IRA was laughable. And retirement seemed so far away, it was like it didn't even exist. But The nature of compound interest means that even if you just put in a little bit, it will help you so much more in the long run than if you wait until you're older. Very small efforts, even $25 or $50 a month into an investing or retirement account, will make a huge difference over time. It'll also get you into the habit of saving for the future, which is so key because the years pass fast. Lesson number 6. It is essential to learn as early as possible in life to not care what other people think. It is your life, your choices, and they're not going to pay your bills for you. So if you have a sister or a friend who is making 3 times the amount you are, or is going on vacations every weekend, it is so important to not try to keep up with the Joneses on social media or otherwise. Don't compare your income, your stuff, or your financial goals with others. It's your responsibility to live within your means and to find happiness. If you want to make more money, make more money. And don't give a single darn if somebody judges you for side hustling as a pizza delivery person a few nights a week. Maybe that job is cash flowing your Hawaiian vacation, whereas they might be charging up that vacation debt. We don't know. We only know what other people are showing us. Absolutely be happy for people in your life who are doing better, but don't try to keep up with them. When I was delivering pizzas, secret shopping, training dogs, and about 5 other things, I had people who were like, why don't you just enjoy your life? You have a job, you make some money, like just wait to pay off the debt. It's fine. And I knew that that wasn't in line with the goals that I had for my life. I wasn't ashamed of side hustling, and I knew that the work that I was putting in was going to make my future life so much better. And now I own real estate, like multiple properties. It's so cool. Whereas if I had followed the predetermined or easier plan, I'd still be paying off debt for the next several years. Not in my cards. Figure out what is important to you. Figure out what it's going to take to make that happen. And as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And lesson number 7, you are stronger and more capable than you think. My mom told me that when I was younger, and I've carried it with me to this day. And I often reference it when I think that when I'm overwhelmed or think that I can't do something, or when I don't have faith in myself. Specifically the faith in myself to make more money. Why couldn't I make more money? Lots of people are out there hustling. Why not me? And so often what is holding me back from doing even better and being more successful is my own self-doubt. And if you could just eliminate that in your 20s and just say, I am worthy of everything that I can achieve, and I will continue to grow and do better, then you're set for life. It's very hard to lose in your 20s. Try that project. Try to start that venture. Ask for the raise. By taking risks, the younger you are, the more likely things are to succeed. And there's also time to recover if you make a bad choice. It's also very important to realize as young as possible that very small wins lead to giant results. Little money habits, like believing in yourself or taking a little bit of time to invest in yourself and by learning new things, adds up over time. A little bit extra to debt can save hundreds, if not thousands. All right, friends, well, that is it. Those are 7 lessons that I think everyone should learn at some point in their life, but people learn these in their 20s, they would be unstoppable. They are lessons that I tried to learn into my 20s and I'm still trying to learn now. And I think if you try to institute some of these, your future self will thank you for it. I would absolutely love to know what lessons you have learned with money in life over the years and what advice you would like to give to younger people who are watching this channel and are trying to do better. Leave those down in the comments below. I love reading them, and I've also been told by other commenters that they really like reading them. I think it's an absolutely wonderful community that we have here, and everyone is so willing to share and learn and grow. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out the link in the description below to sign up there. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more fun money stuff. I've got Duplex Diaries Season 1.5 coming out very, very soon. So you want to make sure that you don't miss out on that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!